The end of 3D makes it seem that Sora emerged from his sleep with no negative repercussions, which I find hard to believe. After all, it took years for Riku to not only develop his resistance to darkness, but also forgive himself for giving into it in the first place. What I also find hard to believe is Sora not being bummed about not passing the Mark of Mastery exam. Yeah, he's really happy that Riku passed, as he should be. Terra. Be happy for your friend who passed, Terra. But Yensid wasn't exactly fair in his reasoning for failing Sora, at least in my opinion. While it sounds harsh, luckily 0.2 showed us that Sora wasn't that lucky or too happy. It turns out that Sora's time in the darkness prevented him from gaining the power of waking and stripped him of a lot of his strength, which of course so conveniently explains why we'll be level 1 in Kingdom Hearts 3. And in order to gain the power of waking, Sora must regain his strength in Olympus Coliseum. And Sora is seen to be really bummed out by this. He's obviously noticed that he isn't as strong as he once was. He was forced to take a major step backwards and has to prove himself all over again. If I was Sora, I'd be really frustrated. But in true Sora fashion, he brushes it off, but I still think it got to him. Despite the setback, Yensid still insists that Sora is their key to stopping Xehanort, which Sora is surprised at. This is why I think Kingdom Hearts 3 says it will show us a mature Sora. Sora learned a different lesson from the Mark of Mastery exam. Don't let your guard down. No one expected Sora to be Xehanort's target, and Sora didn't take the test seriously. And the result was a severe blow to Sora's strength, but not his purpose. Sora now understands that he's important, not just to the Guardians of Light, but to Xehanort. And I think we're going to see Sora take things a lot more seriously. The most recent trailers show Sora very guarded when facing a Xehanort, but the trailers have also shown Xehanort will not give up in trying to bring Sora to the dark side. Sora has hinted at wanting to bring Roxas back, but Xemnas proposes that there's only one way to do it. Sora has to call upon the darkness in his heart. This is obviously a trap, but it already shows us that Sora is going to have to deal with more than just opposing forces from the outside. It'll be truly interesting to see where this plot point will lead. As I said at the beginning of this series, I wanted to make this because I saw a lot of people criticizing Sora for lack of character development, and I hope that this series has made anyone who thought that reconsider. And as this series ends, I wanted to address some final misconceptions that I had seen going around. That Sora has no incentive to face any member of the real Organization 13, and that someone else should defeat Master Xehanort. I'm appalled that this idea gained popularity, because it's completely untrue. The arguments are that Master Xehanort or his other selves have not had a direct impact on Sora's life to the extent the other protagonists have had. Master Xehanort took control of Terra's body, maimed Ven's heart, took Ven and Terra away from Aqua, and destroyed the home that they and Ericus lived in. Ansem possessed Riku and continued to haunt him until Dream Drop Distance. Xigbar and Xemnas lied to all the members of the organization about not having hearts and what their goal was. They planned on using Naminé's powers before Marluxia turned on them, kept Roxas and Shionne's identities a secret, and forced Axel to fight both of his best friends, and made his best friend from his human life a vessel. Saïx kept Kairi prisoner to further fuel Sora's anger. These are all valid incentives, and each protagonist should have a chance at taking down members of the true Organization 13. But Sora has incentives too. Terra Xehanort's experiments released countless Heartless into the worlds, and they would eventually destroy his home. Ansem convinced his best friend to open the door to darkness and open up the islands to destruction, and then continued to manipulate Riku into betraying Sora and then possessing him just to gain a physical form. Because of the possession, Riku was trapped in the realm of darkness, which prolonged Sora's homecoming for a year. The presence of Ansem in Riku's heart prevented Sora from locating Riku because he didn't want to be found, so Sora was unsure of his friend's safety for a year. Master Xehanort's inclusion of Maleficent caused her to search for the Princesses of Heart, which put Kairi in danger. The attack of the Heartless on the islands because of Ansem's meddling caused Sora and Kairi to be separated, and for Kairi's heart to leave her body and take refuge into Sora's. This, of course, caused Sora to sacrifice himself to free Kairi and the other princesses' hearts that were trapped in a Keyblade of Ansem's making. Marluxia and Larxine's distrust of Xemnas caused them to change whatever plans he had for Sora in Castle Oblivion, resulting in Sora losing his memories, gaining new ones, caring for Naminé, and then having to choose to let one set of memories go. Xemnas' plans for Xionne prolonged Sora's awakening and eventually caused her end. Whatever Xemnas' plans were for Nalmede's powers, it still involved memory manipulation, which changed the fate of Roxas, who could have probably remained coexisting with Sora without his memories. After manipulating Xion and Roxas, Xemnas chose to continue obtaining hearts for Kingdom Hearts by capturing the hearts Sora was releasing. Even after knowing this plan, Sora was unable to stop defeating Heartless unless he was willing to put innocent people in harm's way. Xemnas' manipulation of Xion and Roxas angered Axel, so he kidnapped Kairi in order to make Sora desperate enough to sacrifice himself in order to save her and bring Roxas back. When Kairi got away from Axel, Saïx imprisoned her and forced Sora to beg to see her, only to refuse his plea. The same manipulation pitted Roxas and Riku against each other and forced Riku to channel Ansem's power. Ansem marked Sora with the recusant sigil, allowing young Xehanort and Xigbar to hijack the Mark of Mastery exam and separate him from Riku. Young Xehanort, Xigbar, and Xemnas multiple times taunted Sora about his strength and tried to cast doubt on Sora's role as a hero to tempt him to join the organization. The forced battle with Xemnas put Sora to sleep and caused the darkness to nearly consume him. And finally, Master Xehanort's manipulation of the Mark of Mastery exam forced Sora to face the pain in his heart with no warning, help, or idea on how to handle him. His near success at making Sora his final vessel caused Sora to fail the exam, preventing him from obtaining the power of waking, and stripped him of the strength he had gained during Dream Drop distance. That's a lot of manipulation directed at Sora, and it definitely gives him a reason to fight any member of the organization he chooses. And even with Sora's setback, Yensid still believes he's the best chance at stopping Xehanort. As for why, I offer two explanations. The first is that Sora has always been a wild card, someone Xehanort can't predict. Sora was an ordinary boy who got the Keyblade by accident. No one expected him to succeed at his role. And not only did he stop Maleficent, he freed the Princesses of Heart by sacrificing himself, only to be returned to the Realm of Light by one of the princesses, and called out the true nature of Kingdom Hearts to defeat Ansem. He proved himself a powerful force even at the mercy of a changing memory, and his memories proved powerful enough to influence Xion's identity, to Xemnas' admitted surprise. The only time Master Xehanort had any plan that Sora followed completely was the Mark of Mastery exam, which was manipulated for Sora at the beginning. And with their ace captured, Yensid relied on Lee's spontaneity to catch Master Xehanort off guard. With Sora free from Master Xehanort's influence, he's now back to being the best weapon against him. No doubt Sora will find some way to best Xehanort that won't be expected. And even with the looming plot point of Sora facing the darkness inside him, he'll most likely come up with a solution different than Riku's, and one that Xehanort will not understand. And that unpredictability is why Xehanort wants Sora on his side. He would be able to predict the other Guardians with better chances of success, and Sora would be a powerful ally. It's incredibly smart of Xehanort to exploit Sora's weaknesses and try to get the one guy who constantly defeated him on his side. My second explanation is that Sora and Xehanort are incredibly well-designed characters that act as foils to each other, and having them face each other in the final battle will be an incredible showcase of that. Both Xehanort and Sora come from Destiny Islands, and both wanted to venture out to other worlds. Both came into possession of Keyblades originally not their own, Sora with Riku's Kingdom Key, and Xehanort with the Master of Masters No Name. Both have an influence on nearly every character in the Kingdom Hearts universe, and both were at one point reduced to just a heart. The differences that emerge from these similarities define the nature of their characters. Both Sora and Xehanort intentionally became heartless. Xehanort's intention was to use his heartless self to go back in time and grant that power to his younger self, so he could use it to gather other Xehanorts throughout time, then have that heartless position himself in a moment in the present he could take advantage of in the future. That heartless progressed the plan of assembling a Kingdom Hearts made out of the Hearts of Worlds, and made sure that Maleficent gathered the 7 Princesses of Heart. With a nobody being created in the process, that nobody would gather 13 other nobodies and construct a Kingdom Hearts made from the hearts of humans that would then be used to turn the remaining 10 members into Xehanort's vessels of pure darkness. As a reminder, Xigbar and Saïx were already Norted by this point. Sora's intention was to free Kairi's heart from within his own body, allowing her and the other Princesses of Heart to awaken. He had no knowledge of his nobody until after it had returned to him, and now he seeks to revive his nobody as his own person. Both Heartless were returned to physical form through another. Ansem took possession of Riku's heart and used his body to form a new one. Sora's heart was restored to physical form by Kairi's powers as a Princess of Heart, and their deep feelings for each other. Already, I think it's obvious that Xehanort's intentions are not only more sinister, but more complex than Sora's. Sora and Xehanort's influences and connections to other characters in the Kingdom Hearts universe stretch far beyond themselves. And funny enough, in ways that traditionally are attributed to their opposites. Xehanort has splintered his heart into 9 other people, and we see that a vessel containing Xehanort's heart eventually changes in some way. And their eyes change to a color closer to Xehanort's. In the case of Xigbar, his hair has begun to turn white, and their personalities or morals are corrupted. This is seen most prevalent in Saïx. Xehanort's giving out pieces of his heart, but with the intent of using those pieces and the people therein for his goals. Sora has taken in the hearts of those seeking refuge from pain and darkness into his own with the intent of helping them heal, and when they can stand on their own, the bond they formed helps them both when needed. The best example is Ven, whose heart Sora helped heal after the destruction of the Keyblade. This heart then protected Sora from the darkness that was closing in on him in 3D. Normally, giving and taking are attributed to positive and negative respectively, but is reversed for Sora and Xehanort. But what's even more interesting is to see the 2 instances of when Sora did give out pieces of himself in contrast to Xehanort. Sora filled the part of Ven's heart that was taken away by Vanitas' creation. This not only allowed Ven to heal and eventually make more of his life, but also gave Vanitas a face. No other influence of Sora's is seen in these 2, and with Xion, he lent his memories to her so that she could form her own identity. It was only when Xion's nature as a replica began to grow stronger did we see more of Sora's influence. But Sora himself never actually played a part in that. If Xehanort was the one who lent Xion an identity, she would have quickly been corrupted and would have simply become a vessel for Xehanort's heart. Xehanort may give, but he also consumes. Sora may take, but he also allows the connections he makes to grow beyond him. Again, Xehanort's intentions are sinister and complex. Sora's are benign and simple. Or should I say simple and clean? To defeat your enemy is to understand them, and I don't think anyone else can understand Xehanort as well as Sora can, even if he doesn't know that yet. Yes, the other protagonists can face Master Xehanort, but it would really only be settling a grudge. Sora facing Master Xehanort would be pitting 2 very unusual and powerful Keyblade Masters against each other in a clash of purely opposite ideas, goals, and personalities. Sora has to be the one to defeat Master Xehanort, and I hope that Kingdom Hearts 3 allows Sora to be the one to end him. And finally, I wanted to thank everybody who's stuck with me and stuck with this series as non-existent for the most part as it has been. It's been a rough couple years for me since I first announced this series, but I'm glad that I got to do this. It's been great, and I really hope that people, start to see Sora differently. Over the years, the outlook on Sora's character has improved, especially since when I originally wrote this. But I still think that this series still needed to be made, so that we can all really understand how epic the battle between Sora and Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts 3 will be. So, thank you, everybody, for watching.